Good evening and welcome home to Grace Avenue United Methodist Church and to the 2020 Charge Conference for our congregation. All the way back to the days of John Wesley, Methodists were encouraged to gather together regularly for what Wesley called holy conferencing. And all the way down to today, we have participated in that very thing. And annually, churches are invited to come together under the leadership of their district superintendent to basically look at the year that has taken place and to begin to prepare for the coming year. In the last few years, we've done that in a large group with other churches, but this year, because of the pandemic, we've done this with individual churches virtually. And so tonight, we are blessed to be able to have our annual Charge Conference for Grace Avenue. Tonight, we are once again under the wonderful leadership of Dr. Ron Henderson. Ron is a great friend of ours, as well as just a wonderful pastor to us. I just couldn't be more pleased to have this tonight. I'm going to say a few more things about Ron later in the Charge Conference, but as we start tonight, I just want to welcome him, and he'll call us to order in just a minute after we hear our opening prayer from our pastor of modern worship, Christopher Vaughn. Christopher?
Well, good evening, everyone. I have the privilege of opening our Charge Conference in prayer today, so I hope you will join with me in prayer. Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, tonight we come together for Charge Conference, an opportunity for our church to hear reports and to set goals, but also an opportunity to assess and plan for ministry that contributes to our vision, making disciples and making a difference through Jesus Christ. We give you thanks for the strong and courageous leaders that we have at Grace Avenue. Your hand, Lord, guided them from the beginning to build this body of Christ, to bring it to where it is today, thriving and growing. You have been faithful over the years to provide our staff, lay leaders, volunteers, ministries, and missions with the tools needed to carry out your work. And your steadfast love and faithfulness never cease to amaze and inspire us. Holy Spirit, hover over each attendee of the Charge Conference that is in progress now. Bring unity and purpose into this gathering, and may your will be done as agenda items are discussed and new leaders are confirmed. We are so thankful for the many people who serve, have served, and will serve in leadership next year. Today, we will prayerfully consider the ministry of our congregation. May we continue our prayers as we work together, knowing we are called to make a difference not just in this church and in this community, but in the world. We acknowledge that the work ahead may be difficult and challenging, but always rewarding. And we call upon your love and your power to strengthen and prepare us for the ministry ahead. We recognize that although as one we might be weak, as part of the community of Christ, we are strong. And we dedicate all that we do here tonight to the glory of God. Amen.
Amen. Okay, am I to do devotion now? Or you have words to say?
Yes, welcome, Dr. Henderson. The meeting is all yours.
Okay. Well, before I do the purpose, they have me down to do a devotion. As I thought what I wanted to share with you, and I see right now there's 71 of you all on the call, and my only disappointment is I can't see all of your faces. In my devotion, I thought about the first time I was on the district, and I got to know your pastors, and many of your lay people when you were meeting in a school. And I remember when Bishop Moncure was ill and he was not able to preach the dedication service, consecration service of your first building, and I substituted for him. And so much I have done with you, and so many times I've called upon your pastors to assist me in something, some vision for Charge Conference, to use your facilities for a district meeting or for annual conference meeting or one of the group setting meetings. And so throughout all this time, I've developed this relationship with you. This is why I said I hate I can't see you, because over the years, and particularly the last 8 years, I've had this wonderful partnership with you. And it's more than a partnership. I remember Monday before the general election, Tommy Brumman and I invited clergy to share with us in prayer, right? Monday before the general election. And it was a prayer time, not to pray for the outcome of a political party or a candidate, but to pray for God's peace, for shalom, that we would experience the presence of God, the peace of God, the wholeness of God, and that all the people who were voting would experience some safety and protection, which was of a concern at that time. And as I looked at those who had joined in the prayer service, I was suddenly overcome with emotion. And I was glad they couldn't see me that well being on Zoom. And I was glad because I was overcome with emotion, because when I saw them, it occurred to me it wasn't just 49 colleagues, wasn't just 49 clergy that I was praying with, but as I saw their faces and thought about some of the things we had gone through together and shared with together, it occurred to me that those persons I was praying with were a part of an extended spiritual family God had blessed me with. And I have called upon Grace Avenue, your staff, your pastors on so many occasions for so much. I've called on Laura to help me plan annual district conference for the entire district. And she would ask me my vision and then help me to plan it. And so one of the things I was excited about tonight is to share with you what a wonderful gift God has blessed me with the Grace Avenue United Methodist Church family. And I can say sincerely and without exaggeration that I have felt connected with you very strongly spiritually. And there have been times that we've had to even get in the foxhole together as some of the issues in the nation affected our souls and our spirits. And we came together to nurture each other, as I shared with you all this past summer. And so I wanted to say to you is that you have been a great blessing to me, that God has blessed me with this wonderful gift of Grace Avenue United Methodist Church that I sincerely receive as a part of an extended spiritual family in which God has enriched my life, blessed my life, an extended spiritual family which has strengthened me and encouraged me, affirmed me and loved me. And so in my devotion, I wanted to thank you for that and make certain that you know how strongly connected I feel to you by the Spirit of God. I looked up a verse of scripture that I thought would capture what I was feeling. And it comes from Psalms 133. Say, behold how good and how pleasant it is for people to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious oil upon the head, running down on the beard of Aaron, running down on the edge of his garments. It is like the dew of Hermon, descending upon the mountain of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, life evermore. When the people of God came together and were one in unity, God's blessing to them was life evermore. And so, you know, sometimes as a superintendent, it can be lonely because you don't have a local church family. And we get lucky from time to time to get connected with certain churches. And Grace Avenue has been one of those churches that I've been blessed to be connected with more than a superintendent, but as a part of an extended family, God has blessed me with. And during the time of being a DS, God has blessed me with joyful, peaceful life through your ministry. And tonight I wanted to thank you for that. Amen. Okay. Now we're at to receive and see a video from Bishop McKee.
Hello, I hope you're going to have a wonderful experience at Charge Conference this year. Of course, whether you're at your own church's Charge Conference or a collection of several churches that are getting together for Charge Conference, you know this is the time for the annual meeting. It's a part of our covenantal nature, or our connection with the United Methodist Church. And so you will do that essential work that has to be done in order to begin the new year, in terms of your budget, in terms of everything else that's important in the life of your congregation. I want to take this time to thank you. I want to thank you for the several months in which you have been worshiping outside of your building. You've been worshiping from home, you've been worshiping outside in a parking lot or a drive-in, any number of ways in which your congregation has chosen to worship. I appreciate you being the church in that way. Secondly, about that is I appreciate the way in which you've been the church in some other unique ways, attending to the needs of persons in your community, beginning small groups, finding new ministries to begin. And I hope, of course, that you will continue to do that, because we can no longer be the church that we were. We are now in this liminal space between what was and what will be. And we don't know what will be, but I know that what will be is that which is fueled by the imagination and the innovation of the laity and clergy of the North Texas Conference. So I hope that you continue to have some worship that will be taking place, of course, online in some other ways for those people who've chosen not to return at this time, or people who just are unable to be present. I hope that you'll do that. I also want to remind you, as we gather, of course, there are those protocols that are important in terms of our life together, and you'll follow those as well, because it ensures that COVID-19 is not spread in any of our churches. Lastly, this. At our annual conference, we began, and actually was begun last fall with our clergy, our journey toward racial justice. You will be hearing more about that. I think what's important to know about our journey toward racial justice is that we who are white simply don't know things that we think we know. And as I've been visiting with our African-American clergy, brothers and sisters, and our laity as well, I've learned new things that it's important to know. And so we're going to have an opportunity to have conversations around tables throughout the North Texas Conference. Conversations in which people begin to share stories and just listen to each other, not challenge each other, not argue with each other, but listen what it's like for so many of our brothers and sisters. I think that's important because, as you begin to think about this whole relationship among human beings, God settled it in the very beginning of time. God made humankind in God's image and called it good. It matters not where you're born or the color of your skin. All of us are made in God's image. I hope you have a wonderful Charge Conference. Thank you for being the church. And may you be richly blessed, not only by this evening, but in the work that your church continues to do. God bless you.
Having received a video from Bishop McKee, having our devotion, our opening prayer, I now call the conference to order. Your pastor has already stated that it is a time when we come together as a local congregation to give an accountability of our stewardship for the year. So we are in order. First item of business is election of a secretary. I've been given the name of Tyra Dam as recording secretary. So if you would elect her, I believe you can hit yes somewhere on your screen. There it is. Say, do you approve the election of Tyra Dam as secretary of the Charge Conference? If you would hit yes, if you vote for her and hit submit. Next thing on our agenda is Reverend Laura Eccles Richter will lead us in the celebration of ministry in 2020. And Laura, I hope I had myself unmuted when I did the devotion. I don't know if I was muted or not.
You did great.
Okay.
You did perfect.
Okay.
That was wonderful. it is good to gather with everybody. Throughout 2020, we have been clear that although the building was closed, Grace Avenue remained more open than ever. As we became more creative and innovative in ways to connect, we reclaimed a piece of our history, proclaiming Grace Avenue is not just a location, but truly a way of life. And this year, our church family has celebrated 18 baptisms, confirmed 28 students, and received 66 total new members, with 40 of those being professions of faith. During this year, we have also grieved the death of 11 saints of our church. Our children's ministry, led by Brittany Board and Nicole Anderson, presented Bibles to 44 third graders, and they have decorated dozens of sidewalks with chalk in celebration of birthdays, popsicles on the porch, and the first ever virtual VBC connected the stories of faith with children and families in new ways. Our youth ministry started the year under the leadership of Christopher Vaughn and now is led by Sarah Roseboom and Braden Bishop. This year began with a mystery trip followed by a senior high mission trip at spring break. They remained focused on mission throughout the summer as they led the church in a family mission week, connecting Grace Avenue in new ways during a time of need. We celebrated 42 graduating high school seniors in a drive-through parade, our first ever. And meeting virtually and in person, our middle and high school students have taught us about being resilient and how to encourage one another in difficult times. Our adult ministry, led by Kristen Lane, celebrates that we have found new ways to keep 19 small groups connected and meeting regularly while social distancing. We have focused on micro gatherings, engaged in check-in chats through Zoom, and learned how to teach in new ways. We have been willing to engage in difficult conversations through new forums, and we're honored to partner with Dr. Ron Henderson, as he mentioned earlier, on next steps conversations about systemic racism. These conversations encouraged the development of a voter engagement team, and we were also honored to be asked recently to be one of the churches to pilot a pathway with the North Texas Conference in a congregational journey toward racial justice that will begin in 2021. Our music teams, led by Laurie Hanson Roberts, Bill Roberts, and Wendy Child, have gone above and beyond learning how to offer a balm for our souls through the gifts of virtual choirs, instrumentalists, and leadership and worship. We have been blessed over and over again by their gifts and talents. And behind the scenes, Preston Reed continues to help pull all of this together. And it looks so easy because of his talent. In missions, led by Mary Martin, we have been busier than ever as we not only collect food daily from our neighbors, but continue to find places of connection with those in need. We celebrate that we have served 1,400 summer lunches, gave out 200 backpacks, and 190 books to children who live in Preston-on-the-Lake community. Plus, we donated 2,500 pounds of canned food from our Grace on the Go trailer collections and over 150 pounds of fresh vegetables from our community garden. That all went to area food pantries. Frisco Helpers continues to make home safe for those who are in need, and we have held 3 blood drives through this season. And we celebrate that we have now become a mentor organization for Corbell Elementary, assisting 19 families with cold weather items for their children. Finally, we have had amazing volunteers that have truly visited house to house with deliveries of joyfully connected signs, love your neighbor mask, surprises of grace, serenity prayer bookmarks, hand-carved crosses, clay gratitude jars, and Advent wreaths this past week. 8 separate deliveries to over 400 homes by over 20 volunteers. What a gift that has been. Grace Avenue never closed. we have just reclaimed that it isn't about a physical location, but a way of life as we stay joyfully connected during this very new and different season of ministry. It is a joy to share in ministry with all of you and Dr. Henderson with you as well. Thank you for your leadership that continues to offer the leadership of so many in our ministry area.
And thank you
Amen.
so much. Amen. Thank you so very much. Very powerful. I just wanted to ask you, where's your community garden?
The community garden is right back behind the church building. So if you walked out the back of the sanctuary, the community garden is right back there. And it's just amazing. And we have an Eagle Scout that's actually about to take on the project of rebuilding some of the boxes so that we can do even more as we move into the spring.
Okay. I've not seen that. I will make a point to see it.
It's been an incredible gift to us that we've had, and it continues to give to the community every single year. We have some great volunteers who took that on. Holly Hansen has offered incredible leadership. Mel Caraway has offered leadership to that. And so it's really been a blessing, along with so many others that I probably am missing naming right now.
I heard all you did, and I was really inspired. Did you do any mission trips this year? I don't know if I heard that.
So the last mission trip we did was the week of spring break. Our senior highs went on a trip, and that happened right. They came back, then we shut down the building that weekend. And so right as we were coming back. So it's one of those where that was our last mission trip. And then what we did for the summer, the mission trips that were planned, we did connections in our community rather than going out.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Outstanding. Now, are you calling on Courtney and Alex? Am I calling on them?
You can call on them and they will jump into the fray of things.
Okay. Under the Celebration of Ministry 2020, we have Grace Chapel. It'll be led by Alex and Courtney.
Thank you.
Hey, Courtney.
We are excited to be able to share with you how we have been extending the ministries of Grace Avenue on the growing 380 corridor here in our community. So one of the things that we've been able to do this year is continue our community engagement through our Power Packs program, where we are providing the supplemental food for the weekend for students on free and reduced lunch in 2 partner schools. So we're serving 19 children every weekend through that program and have continued that through this fall. We were also able to make a very large donation, as in like a U-Haul trailer full of food to a local food pantry in the spring, right when all of the shutdowns happened and the food pantries were very bare. Our community decided to pool all of our resources and get that food out to the places where it could be put into the hands of people who needed it. So it was really spectacular to watch our church's generosity in that moment. We've also been able to implement live stream worship and other online ministry opportunities throughout this season. We have continued with our life groups meeting. We started a morning prayer group through Facebook that has over 50 members at this point on that morning prayer and meets daily. We also have done pastors' Bible studies, and our youth group has continued meeting through the Zoom platform. In addition to that, I want to give great recognition and honor to our youth minister, DeAndre, at Grace Chapel, because not only has he kept our youth engaged throughout this year, but he was able to bring 3 students through the confirmation journey in 2020, which was really awesome to watch. And so we are very proud to have him on our team and to see how he is making a difference in the lives of our young people. Also, we marked our 1-year anniversary as a campus of Grace Avenue in September. So we are excited for what is ahead for us next year. And Alex is going to continue offering some more of our celebrations.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank
Courtney.
you.
I just wanted to add that it's been such a joy to be a part of this ministry this year and all the newness that has come through Grace Chapel. It's certainly not what we envisioned our first year looking like, but we've made those adaptations, and the leadership and the staff have just been wonderful. Those that we began with, and then we also added Kim Eifert and Mariel Vela to our worship team here in 2020. And so it's really been a joy as we've navigated these waters. Some of the best things we've done have been outdoors. We've been doing youth gatherings, and we had a family pumpkin carving. We've got a family Advent night coming up next week, game nights, all sorts of things, trying to figure out how to do things outside. We began our outdoor worship on Sundays back in July when it was in the 100s. And then this last Sunday, as we've continued outdoor worship, it was a wind chill of about 35. And so we've seen all the seasons, and our people have continued to remain faithful. And so it is a joy to see new people coming in who are moving into the area, looking for community, braving the elements, whatever it takes to come and find that hope of Christ. And it's been really wonderful to get to meet them and be a part of that. By far the biggest joy that we've had this year is the culmination of a lot of prayers and a lot of hard work in the purchase of the piece of land that we are about to begin construction of our permanent campus upon. We are in a building right now that is sort of our temporary space. And here is a photo that you can see of our land blessing. We were able to do that safe and socially distanced with masks and celebrate with our community out on the land. Dr. Henderson was there along with Dr. Ross and Billy and Laura. We had a great contingent of people that were out there to celebrate on our land. So we consecrated this 10.33 acres for the work of God in Grace Chapel and Grace Avenue out here on the Growing 380 corridor. It's about a mile from where we currently meet. And to stand on that land, I talked about how it reminded me of the great old hymn, Standing on the Promises. As in the middle of a pandemic and an economic recession, we were standing on this new land because our congregation has stepped forward boldly to say that we are ready to move forward no matter what is happening in our world. We know that God is making a way in the wilderness, and so we continue to trust in that, building on the work that has gone for over 2 decades here at Grace Avenue. It continues not just in Frisco, but on the 380 corridor, and God is doing some incredible, wonderful things. So we are moving forward, and we're about to start meeting with all of our architecture firms and walk through that process. So it's lots of joy and excitement and lots of new and exciting things. And so we are ever grateful for the love and support that we get from Grace Avenue Frisco and all of the ministry that we are able to do and new families we are able to encounter. So it's a joy and a blessing to be here with you tonight.
Well, it's a joy to hear from you and Courtney, and you two are two outstanding young ministers that are very gifted, dedicated, and have a bright future. It was good to see Courtney. She did so much planning for the land celebration that I was honored to be a part of. And Courtney had to be quarantined at the time and couldn't make it after doing a lot of work. But Courtney, it was good to see you tonight and see your usual enthusiasm. Thank you. And Alex, there you are. Thank you so very much. Glad to see you're well and looking well.
Yes, thank you. I was sorry to miss that, but very, very grateful that you all could be there and make it happen. So thank you.
I tell you, and the ground was barely, if it had been a little softer, we'd have had to put it off another week. When I was driving on the land, so we're going to make it, but barely make it today. But thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to call on Ms. Kim Clark now, who's going to lead us with some reports from the Staff Parish Relations Committee.
Great, thanks, Ron. Hey, we just have 3 items to share tonight. The first, we have 2 candidates that would like to renew their candidacy for ordained ministry. So on the call, we've got Colin Eccles Richter and Christopher Vaughn. If you guys would like to say hi real quick. I think you can release.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, hi, everyone. How's it going? Hope you're all doing well. It's getting chilly up in Boston, but I am finishing up my 3rd year of seminary up here and will graduate in May. So very excited to be there, be doing this up here. And yeah, just wanted to say hi. Thank you all.
Okay, what's the temperature there in Boston?
I think right now it is only 43. Oh, it's 46.
Okay,
46
it's
in
warmer
Boston.
there than it is here.
Yep.
Okay, we'll vote on you in just a second. It's Christopher.
I'm here, but I am rocking my daughter, who is decided
Okay.
to be frustrated at the same time as my son decided he needed his mother. So we're doing a
Alright.
little tag team, but I'm excited to be here as well and to continue my ministry with Grace Avenue.
Okay. Okay. Thank you both. Colin, good to see you. I remember when you were at Southwestern, and hard to believe you're going to graduate from Boston in May. Wow. Okay. If you would continue, we should have a voting apparatus now to continue Colin and Christopher in ministry. As you see, here it is. Do you approve the continuation of Colin Elkins Rick as a candidate for ordained ministry in United Methodist Church? Would you, if you will, vote yes and hit submit?
Okay. Great. We also have, on November 8th, our staff parish had the joy of meeting 2 candidates who are being recommended to start the process of ordained ministry. So we are recommending Kim Eifert and Carol Petratus, which I believe they both are on the call too. If you guys would like to say hello.
Okay, there's,
Hello.
yeah, you can say a little more than hello. if you
Okay,
want to.
well, I didn't know if is it my turn? I'll go first. So hi, everybody. I think in 2020, I've kind of gotten used to like speaking into the ether and just trusting you're all out there. So hello, all 74 of you. My name's Kim Eifert. I've been part of Grace Avenue in one way or another since about 2005, and I've been on staff since 2011. So a lot of you already know me, but then some of you don't, which makes sense because I work behind the scenes in communications most of the time. But I will say that whether you know me or not, that you have all played a role in my journey to this place that I'm coming to. Your contributions to this church, whether it's Grace Avenue or Crossway or Grace Chapel now, in making it an opening and welcoming space for questions and for people to sort of live in that abstract space of finding God in their own time and learning about God in their own time, but while still doing really tangible work of feeding kids and building houses. That's really brought me to where I am and where I feel called to really continue this work in a more dedicated way. So it's been a long road for me. And there are days that this still feels like a really crazy, nonsensical thing to think about. But on most days, it feels like the really right thing. And on a lot of days, it feels like the only thing to do. So
That's good.
while you're out there, I hope you hear that I don't come asking for you to vote for me with any arrogance or any ideas that I'm extraordinary, but I do feel humbled by the calling and very gracious for everyone's support along the way. So your continued support would be really, really appreciated.
Thank you. Okay. Carol, I got it right, huh?
You got it. It's right. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to start by saying I'm so excited about this new journey and the opportunity to live into God's call for my life. Just briefly, a little bit about me. I've been a member of Grace Avenue for about 5 years. I'm a member of the Modern Worship community and am deeply blessed by my amazing small group. I have a son in kindergarten and a 2-year-old daughter who attends Rainbow Corner Preschool, which we are so, so thankful for. My husband, John, has been an awesome partner and support to me as I've started this journey towards ministry. And I am so thankful for him and everyone here at Grace Avenue, and am looking forward to beginning seminary at Perkins in the fall. So thanks so much, everyone, for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. And I will turn it back over to Kim. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. We're called now to, we have to vote on each one of these persons individually. So first, I believe we have Kim Eifert. And if you would recommend Kim as a candidate for ordained ministry in the United Methodist Church, would you please vote yes? And after you voted, if you would hit submit.
It was 100% affirming of Kim. So
Okay.
yay.
Congratulations and welcome to the journey. Okay. Now next we will vote for Carol.
And Carol has been approved by 100%, a unanimous decision. And so once again, we celebrate.
Yes, congratulations to both of you. Thank you very much. Ms. Clark, you can continue with your report.
Thank you. And last but not least, we need to approve the 2021 compensation report for ordained clergy. So we would like to file at the same level that was set for 2020. This is what we do every year. It allows for us to get through the end of the year, the stewardship campaign. If we need to make any updates, we can work that through our executive leadership team. They'll file in January if that's possible.
Okay. So the motion is that you set the remuneration for your appointed clergy at the 2020 level, but also you're authorizing your executive team to make any adjustments in the new year after you've done all of your work in your campaign. Okay, I think we'll have the screen to come up where we can vote for that. If you support this motion of keeping the compensation package the same for 2021 as of 2020 approved, please vote yes and then submit. Ms. Kim, did you have anything else to report to us tonight?
Nope, that concludes our staff parish report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very, very much. And okay, that we'll close that out. So I guess we'll hear about that later. Okay, we have a stewardship report from Travis and Janelle Taylor. The one in, okay, there you are, yes. Hi.
Hi, I'm Janelle Taylor, and this is my husband, Travis Taylor, and we're your stewardship chairs for 2021. We're so thankful to be a part of this team. And so we wanted to let you know that, I'm sure you know that over the last 4 weeks, we've been talking about generosity and grace, gratitude, and glory for our stewardship campaign, and just talked about how thankful we are for Grace Avenue and all that Grace Avenue does others and reaches out. So we're just happy to report that so far there's 244 pledges that have been made, and of the 2020 total, we're about 175 short of what we were for, or what we are for 2020 for 2021. So we we're going to have consecration weekend this Sunday, consecration Sunday. So we will consecrate those gifts that you've given for the work of the church in 2021. And we encourage you to please, if you haven't made your gift and your pledge for 2021, that you would do that before this weekend, maybe by Friday. You could also encourage your small groups and your friends and family that haven't given to a gift that they can also pledge as well. And the easiest way to do that is online. And it goes right to Cindy, or there's many other ways you can do it by mail, or just calling or emailing Cindy. But I will pass it on to Travis for a few words from him.
All right. So as Janelle kind of articulated, and I think it's important to understand, cards have already been sent out to everyone. So if you have a card, if you could make sure you get that turned in, your pledge card turned in to the church before Friday, or probably best, as Janelle brought up, to actually just go online. And again, that goes directly to Cindy to report that. The other thing I think is important that we talk about, as we just voted on, we voted about, keeping salaries flat for this year. And as many of you, I hope feel the same as me. We have an incredible staff at Grace Avenue. And, I don't know about a majority of you, but I would assume a majority of you are expecting at least a little bit of a pay increase for 2021. And I just urge everyone to prayerfully consider increasing their pledge this year. I know there's uncertainty out there, but there is every year. And I just ask everyone to really prayerfully consider, their pledge for this year, and make sure that we get them turned in as soon as possible. Again, we will be consecrating those this Sunday. There will be follow-up work that we will continue to do. But again, just as you think about the incredible staff and incredible leadership that they have given through the last, since Grace Avenue's been here, but also especially this year, I think it's really important for us as members of the church to really step up for our staff and the like. And I just, again, ask the question, rather than ask the question, I just respectfully ask that you really prayerfully consider and make sure you get your donations turned in. So appreciate that. And with that, we will turn it back to you, Ron.
Okay, thank you so very, very much. We received your report. Let me call on Mr. Greg Waller, finance report.
Yes, thank you very much. I believe we have a slide to put up. Thank you. So yes, I'm the finance chair for, this is my second year now. And as far as the finance report, I'm going to focus on the middle couple of columns where they have the year-to-date actual results and our year-to-date budget and variance. And so as you can see, we are on the first line, there's significantly behind on our revenues, roughly little over $431,000 behind on revenues. This is primarily in the category of giving, and specifically unpledged giving, which of course, comes in primarily through the offering plate at in-person services, which we have not been able to do for most of this year. The other half of the variance approximately is due to Rainbow Corner, our preschool program, which of course, again, not surprisingly, has had a significant drop in attendance for this year. As is normally the case, our folks do a fantastic job in trying to offset any negative variances on the revenue line by managing expenses. And this year's been certainly no exception. In fact, we've done a fantastic job managing expenses. Again, a lot of that is in Rainbow Corner, where lower attendance is in some cases resulted in also lower payroll costs. But it's also in things like childcare, cleaning, a little bit in utilities, so forth like that. That goes along with, again, having, unfortunately, a lack of in-person services for most of the year. And then finally, you'll see a new line at the bottom. Page, I think you can see the title there, PPP loan. So that really has made up the difference. That PPP loan has really saved us for this year. It was recently officially forgiven for us. So it's not something we will have to pay back, and it's allowed us to stay positive, as you can see, for the year. This is through October, and so we expect to stay just barely positive as we get through the rest of this year. So the last thing I'd like to discuss or just mention on the finance report is we were able also to refinance all of our outstanding debt. We have a mortgage, if you will, on part of our debt, and then a revolving credit for the rest of the debt. We were able to refinance, like many homeowners have refinanced this year with interest rates being so low. We were able to refinance all of that debt to 3.95%, 75 basis point reduction. And that is has saved us and will save us roughly $4,000 a month going forward. So that was a fantastic opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Waller. Okay, the pastor's going to come with us now with a lay leadership or nominating committee. Did you finish, Greg, or did I cut you off?
I apologize. We do have one thing to vote on.
Okay.
We could pop that up. We would like to vote to authorize the current executive leadership team to set the 2021 budget, next year's budget, at our final meeting in January of 2021. So if you would all.
This comes from the Finance Committee?
Yes, sir.
Okay, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. So the motion is that you authorize the executive leadership team to set the 2021 budget at the meeting in January. If you would do that, would you please vote yes?
So yeah, thank you, Ron. Thanks, everybody. Quickly talk about the nominating report that we are submitting tonight. It's important, I think, as we kind of begin to look at this nominating report, to understand a little bit about where we've been in 2020. You know, we started the year with goals and aspirations, and almost every committee in the church starts with that moment of hopefulness and sets out some things they want to do. And then by March, almost every standing committee in the church was scrambling. And as so many of our things have been, we sort of just had to set everything to the aside and try to do a lot of different things this year. And I'm so thankful for the leadership that people have shown. But one of the things we came to the conclusion of is that as we move from 2020 to 2021, we really need some consistency and some carryover. One, because so much of what we had hoped for in 2020, we didn't get to do. And secondly, we just need the security of people who have been working in this environment to continue to work in that environment. So as you see the 2021 nominating report, I think we have a sheet that we can put up for that. One of the things that you're going to notice is that we have asked across the board, the nominating committee has asked across the board for our leadership to basically remain intact again this year. So we went back to all of our key leaders and just said, would you be willing to serve another year? We are basically saying to all of our committees, if you can, we'd love for you to stay in the class, but just move that class one more year. It's almost as if we're kind of saying, okay, 2020 really didn't happen. Now, to say that in the midst of what Laura Eccles-Richter reported earlier would be a bit of an injustice, but we just think having the consistency for next year would be great. There are a couple of exceptions when we are going to have some new leaders, but by and large, all of our leadership for 2021 is going to be the leadership that we had in 2020. And so that's why you see these things and you see some of the names that have been moved. As I said, there's a couple of exceptions, one of them being Greg Waller, who has been our finance chair, is going to rotate off. And we appreciate Greg's work so much and the work that he has done. But we continue just to be thankful for the ways in which our leadership has not only performed in 2020, but their willingness now to provide the consistency for 2021. So this is the nominating report. These are the people that we invite us to elect and to vote into leadership for 2021. So Ron, we submit that report, and okay. I think we have a vote on that as well.
Yeah, I just asked you in your nominating committee, class 23, that was different class, is that right? Or is
I think that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the only group that can't succeed themselves.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We will make sure that is the case.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you're seeing the full slate, and the slate is by adopting this slate, you're electing the persons to this to their offices, and you're electing the classes to the classes in which they have been assigned. So if you would approve the full nominating slate, would you please vote yes and hit submit? And by when we adopt this slate, we are electing these persons to those offices. Also, one of the things we do at the Charge Conference.
So Ron,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Pastor.
No, I was going to say, you're on your way there, Ron. Let's go ahead and recognize the lay servants.
That's where I was headed. One of the things we do at the Charge Conference is affirm those persons who are certified lay servants and local church servants. So those persons are J. Sue Toppins, Suzanne Wolverton, and Kenneth Wolverton as certified lay servants. There they are. And then the two local church servants are Carol Dirks and Mary Martin Steinat. Did I pronounce that right?
Steinat,
yes.
Steinat. Okay. If you would reaffirm these persons to these positions, would you please vote yes? We're affirming them in these offices as certified lay servants, and local church servants. Please vote yes and hit submit if you would affirm them and hit submit. Pastor, of all the charge conferences I've done thus far, this is by far the largest attendance. We had a couple of in the 30s, but nothing in the 70s. Okay.
Ron, I think that speaks well to several things, including the fact that, as Laura reported earlier, our building may be closed, but our church has been open, and
Yes.
there is an investment among these folks. With that, I'd like to just start my pastor's report, and I think that's really where I want to start tonight. Is to my report really just revolves around gratitude this evening. It has been a very unusual year, and as you know, you start to mark your years in ministry. I think those of us who've been in ministry for a while are still looking up and saying, well, we never have had a year like this, and we never have. But yet in the midst of that, I am so very grateful for so many things. I'm grateful to be the pastor of this great church. And there's really a few things I just want to lift up in terms of my gratitude. The first thing is this: I cannot tell you how grateful I am for this congregation and for this congregation's trust. Thank you so much, all of you, for trusting us. We know that it is a difficult thing sometimes to just be able to say, well, gosh, we're just going to trust everything that is possible. And yet this year, that's what's been required. We have tried to shape things and reshape things and design things and redesign things. And all along the way, I feel like every time that we've tried to do something different or something new, what I've heard and what I've seen is people basically communicating, you have our trust. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that and how valuable that is to all of us who are doing this ministry. To know that you trust us is just something that we are so very grateful for. The second thing, though, is I also want to just express my gratitude to our lay leadership, because we have outstanding leaders. As I said during the nominating report, we've got folks that have been scrambling and have been reinventing and have been innovating and have been doing everything they can to keep ministry going. And so we've just had some marvelous leaders. I hope that as you looked at that list a few moments ago, I hope that if you know some of those leaders, you'll take time to reach out to them and tell them how much you appreciate them and the work that they've done in 2020. In particular, I want to say a special word of appreciation to our lay leaders. We've had 3 wonderful lay leaders in 2020, Jim Hecht, along with Doug and Jennifer Brad. And they have been confidants. They have been people who have gotten in meetings with us. And when we've said, can we work this out? They worked with us, and we are just so blessed to have such good leadership. As you looked at the nominating report a few minutes ago, you noticed that Jim Hecht will be back as one of the lay leaders, and Doug will be back as one of the lay leaders. We're going to give Jennifer a little bit of a break. She's going to be a mom in 2021 because she's got some family things that are coming up. In particular, her daughter's about to have some pretty major surgery. And Jennifer, we're praying for Hannah and for you guys, but we are so blessed. And I just want to say thank you to everybody and to our lay leadership. The third group, I just cannot say enough thank you for, is our staff. Travis mentioned our staff earlier, but as you've seen on display tonight, we are blessed with such a great staff, and especially this year, to have seen the ways our staff have gone above and beyond to do their work, the extra hours that they've put in, the behind the scenes stuff that they've done. I just cannot express my gratitude enough to our staff and for the wonderful way in which they have not simply just taken on this ministry, but have moved this ministry forward. Many of you know that during the pandemic, I've been real quick to say to people when they ask the question, when are we going back to church? My answer always is, we're not going back to church ever. we're going forward to church. And I can make that statement in no small part because of the staff of Grace Avenue United Methodist Church, who continues to lead in such marvelous ways. I wish I had time tonight to name every single one of them and to say something about the marvelous things they've done in 2020. But if you're on our staff, please know how much I appreciate you and love you and appreciate all that you do for this congregation. And then finally tonight, I am grateful for the ministry of Dr. Ron Henderson. We find ourselves tonight in a really great moment as we think about our church, because I think what's on display tonight is the best of the connectional system. For whatever other problems we may have in the United Methodist Church, having a shepherd like Ron Henderson who can work with our pastors and then work with our leadership and then work with our church ministries is just such a blessing. And sometimes you get the great privilege of doing that once with a DS like Ron. We have been blessed because at Grace Avenue, we have had Ron as our district superintendent twice in his tenure. And most recently, these most recent years have been such a blessing. Ron is known as a leader across the conference and across the denomination. Ron is now moving closer to his time of retirement. We don't know whether that's going to happen sooner or later, but we just wanted to take a moment tonight, Ron, not knowing that, to say how much we love and appreciate you. This summer, when we move to the moments of having those important conversations around next steps, when Laura and I called Ron, he did not hesitate. We called him on a Sunday afternoon and he said, "When do you need me there?" And we said, "Well, could you be here Wednesday night?" And he said, without reservation, "I'm there for you." And we had 5 marvelous weeks. But I cannot tell you the number of times that we've collaborated with Ron, we've confided in Ron, and every time we've had a need, his office has responded. I am grateful for Ron. I'm grateful for his administrative assistant, Carol Blazevich, because she has been a gift as well. And we are so thankful for her. But Ron, before we finish tonight, we just wanted to take a moment to tell you how grateful we are for you. And if this charge conference tonight is in any way a reflection of anything, it is the reflection of our church, our lay leadership, our staff leadership, but it is also a reflection of your leadership in our church. And we just want you to know how much we appreciate you and how much we love you. So all the best to you and whatever may be happening in your near or long-term future. And we know that you'll be a close friend and ally of Grace Avenue forever. So thanks for that. Let me just close by saying it is my daily privilege to be one of your pastors. And I just want you to know how tonight Thanksgiving is still going on with me. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. I am eternally grateful for your words and your friendship and the friendship of your church. I'm just thinking of the devotion I used to say, you know, how you're such a part of an extended spiritual family God has given me. And I mean it so sincerely. It's amazing the blessings and gifts God gives us in ministry. In 2002, I don't think I knew you. I just knew of you. And first time visiting was in a school building. And now we're friends forever. I'm really choked up to know how this is just not some chance, but I believe orchestrated by the sovereignty of God. And I just feel eternally grateful to be loved by you and to be a part of you. I can tell you this, whatever happens, I keep taking inventory every day. And some days I feel like I feel as strong as I felt 40 years ago. There's some days I don't. But I do believe very strongly in the community of God. I believe very strongly in the righteousness of God, the justice of God, the equality of all people, not just people of color, but regardless of sexual orientation, regardless of age, or whatever challenges people have, or whatever prejudices we have put up. I believe so strongly. My life is committed to that. And I pray daily that God opens the door that I can use all the years of experiences to continue to advocate and preach and labor with other partners and family members that we will experience, that all people will experience the righteousness and justice of God. And when I think of that, that's a lot to live for. and that's what kind of excites me for the future. So thank you very much. And I'm certain we'll continue to be in partnership in some way. Is there anything else to come before us? I know you have a song benediction.
We do.
Okay.
If you'll pray us out, we will have the
Okay.
benediction song.
Okay. God, thank you for a wonderful night. Thank you for your spirit. I thank you for the way you bless us and bring us together for a good greater than anything we could have imagined, always for the good of your world, always for the good of your people, always for the advancement of your kingdom. And God, all of us, lay and clergy, are so privileged tonight to be your sons and daughters, linked together in this common destiny of advancing your kingdom and laboring for your righteousness and justice throughout all of the land. Wherever we are in life, we have to admit that we have been privileged. You've given us so much, those of us who live in this part of the world. And your word reminds us to whom much is given, much is required. So we pray that we never be complacent with the gift that you've given us, but that we'll be burdened by those who are still trying to experience all of your goodness in this world. Thank you for this wonderful ministry, for the reports we've heard, and how even the challenge of COVID-19 could not shut this ministry down. You said, upon this rock, upon knowing who I am, I'll build my church, and the gates of hell can't overthrow it. And Grace Avenue United Methodist Church, by your grace, has demonstrated that something as challenging as COVID-19, something as challenging of some of the unrest we've had this year, and those who've not wanted to hear about it, has not been able to destroy your church. And so, God, we're grateful to be a part of your church and pray that you will continue to empower us with your love, with your peace, your grace, not for ourselves, but that we might offer it to others. Continue to bless the leadership of this church, clergy and lay, that they will lead your people in this great region to bring about your justice for all people. But in the name of Christ we pray, amen.